Peter, welcome everyone. I want to thank you guys, especially my close friends that jumped on early tonight and had a wonderful conversation about some of the pastime game shows that we used to have, like Wheel of Fortune. I don't want to say why we got to that discussion point, but it was a great conversation, and y'all that are showing up on time are actually late for the good stuff. So, anyway, welcome. I want to thank you guys for showing up. There's a lot going on in the world. I I kind of know what I want to talk about, and at the same time, I really don't want to bring it up or talk about it because it's really touching a lot of people's hearts. Sometimes we are looking at this world and we take a side, and what you don't realize is that the propaganda and the situation is really running and handling both sides. Um, I I'm searching out countries that are the safest countries, Muslim or Christian, doesn't matter to me. The safest countries, statistically, because that's an indicator of the people of that society. And Uzbekistan, one of the, if not the safest, one of the top five safest countries in the world, right next to Afghanistan. Um, and there's a lot of reasons for it, but the bottom line is here's a country who's got their stuff under control. Here's a country who isn't a part of the West East good, bad, evil, righteous, New World Order, Republican democracy type plan. And we know what they want because they're outing themselves continually and they got to kind of foretell what they're doing in a public venue. So we know what they want. They keep talking about it. I don't think they're going to hit the mark the way that they think they're going to hit, but I think because of artificial intelligence, they're going to hit it a lot faster than we maybe realize. So I'm looking at, a lot of what everybody says, and there's no prophetic here whatsoever. It's a guy who gets paid to really just study. And when you're taking in information, you got to really kind of look at it from the standpoint of, okay, what's real, what's not, what's BS, what are indicators of BS? And I can go on and on and on. And let me give you BS for a second so that you can understand it. Alex Jones, 90% BS, 10% or 90% truth, 10% BS. Absolutely, he is an agent. As a matter of fact, it's not even his real name. Um, and it's really important for you guys to get that because you hear these people, and here's another one, Patrick Beck David. Everybody is gung ho on this guy, and he's conservative. He's got his own news show now, and he's Iranian, and he's got a good Christian guy on his left, and a liberal kind of measurable. I don't like the guy on his right, and then he's got an older gentleman down for statistics and support. But Patrick Beck David is now inviting people like Alex Jones and to the like on his podcast for whatever reason. And he's choosing sides, and the sides and the narratives to which he's choosing seems to be along the lines of the world order. I haven't really made up my mind on him. I like him a lot. I don't like his nose. I don't like the structure of a few things. Then again, I'm not gay, so I don't really need to worry about it. But I like him. But I do hear a narrative starting to come out, and I don't know what it is, like how they are sucking these guys in at a certain time. They get to a certain level and they invite them to a party, and I don't know what happens at these events that make these people kind of try to bend and move towards these directions of being controlled. But I will tell you how it works a little bit as I've studied from a music industry standpoint. Um, Bottom line is you can watch videos on Britney Spears and different girls who go to these events for reprogramming or programming, and they ended up getting tied to a bed and they get raped for days on end until they get to the point of absolute anger. And that's when the curse or the incantation or the demon enters into the vessel. Um, Same. with movie stars, Angelina Jolie, for example, all kinds of rituals that she went through to get to where she's at. Brad Pitt, same thing. These Charlize Theron, same thing. Not only when they get to these certain points, they're pledging um, what seems to me like a they have to go with the measure of what they are being told to do with their children. For example, both Charlize Theron's children are are being told that they are opposite of the sex that they were born by their mother, and she is raising them to what her preference is versus maybe a natural preference. Same with Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Same with, I can go on and on. I did this one study for about 2 days on the movie stars and who's into the occult, who's pushing the occult, pushing the narrative of the 666, pushing the narrative of the all-seeing eye, pushing the narrative of the eye of Horus and the all-seeing eye, and so on and so forth. And it just seems like to me that every major movie star out there was a party to it, every major singer. What was interesting for me is the singers were having they all had like experiences with losing brother, cousin, husband, girlfriend, best friend, very somebody very close to them. They all seem to have that like experience. Not saying it's by design, but it just there's a lot of questionable things. Questionable to the point that even Kanye West is said to have relinquished the fact that he gave up his own mom for the game. And but you go even further back to like the podcasters or people that got famous on YouTube. Because remember, everybody that's famous right now, the new fame is coming from really the podcasters, really the people that are becoming famous on YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever. And those people have a lot of clout, have a lot of money. There's guys that are on YouTube making $250 million. There's guys, the number one guy on YouTube is called The Beast. It's estimated that his YouTube account alone is worth over 17 billion. That's as of 2 years ago. 17 billion just for being a screwing around kid starting at the age of 10, creating videos and then getting people to watch them. It's pretty amazing because most actors would love, and I don't think there's ever been an actor that's been able to develop an online presence to give himself to the point where he's worth 17 billion. As a matter of fact, most actors that are making money, like The Rock, these various guys, they have to have a tequila brand or something else to add on to their bottom line so that they can show their net worth as being whatever. The Rock is finally at well over a billion. Um, and many actors are, they can't just make the money from their acting to bring upon that kind of money. Um, but when you take a look at the podcasters and you look at their secret stories of what they went through and do a deep dive, you'll find out that they were invited to a mansion early on in their career, much like movie industry, much like the stars that or the singers, much like any other industry. And the podcasters are told to go through these rituals, and they get to this final room where they actually are going to have sex with movie stars. And this is on a report and account of multiple different people that did not make it into the podcasting fame level because they got up and walked at this moment, not realizing that that really is the moment where they all are, because they were held under NDA, non-disclosure agreements, before they even got into the house. And they had to go through a series of rituals throughout the night, and they end up in this one room where they perform acts on them and they perform acts on them, and it's all recorded, and it's something they're not going to get out of for the rest of their life. I'm going to tell you what bands go through. Um, y'all know I have a friend in the business. I actually have a few friends in the business now from a standpoint of stars. They're not super famous. Y'all know them, but they're not super famous. But one of them was telling me how several of his band friends that he knows, when they get invited to a signing party, when somebody walks into a signing party, they have it's basically a big event, hosted, food everywhere. All your friends are there, all your family is there. And they say, before we go and we do the signing party, you need to go into this room over here. And four of the band members are, okay, what's going on? And they go to the room and they open the door. So nobody in the party sees, but they all foresee that there's a group of men having sex with one another, and they all have to go in there and participate. Um, so they hire gigolos, homosexual gigolos, to have sex with these heterosexual males that are willing to give it up for a night on camera and for the rest of their lives be controlled. And in this one particular case, one of the band members didn't go in. He was ousted from the band, and the rest of the band got signed and they replaced him in a heartbeat. That happens over and over and over, and it's all over the industry. And it's not just all over the industry. It's what do they do with these music industry stars that have a good message? Tupac had a great message to start off with. Tupac in his beginning days, if you look at his videos, he was what would I would describe as a gay man. If you look at Tupac on his videos in his beginning days, that's what he kind of translated himself as. But you look at his message, and his message was one that was very different. And a lot of people like that message. But the reality is that gangster rap was originated and designed in 1992 by a group of white men, largely judges and high level people, who contracted with the music industry to change the tone and the nature of what they were saying so that the people of that color, that ethnic group, that background would end up getting charged instruments because crime was a thing that we would aspire to. Gangster was a thing we would aspire to. Being a troll or whatever it is on the streets would be that thing that we would aspire to. And a lot of times, ultimately, those people end up in prisons. And it's sad because what people don't realize is judges by large nature are, and I'm not saying everyone because I haven't seen their Form 750, and many of them leave this off their Form 750 if they learn how to invest on the private side. Um, a lot of times these judges are presiding over these people, and these judges have a vested interest in these prisons. And I've done a couple of interviews with both a federal judge and a state judge way in the past, probably 8, 10 years ago, and they didn't even know about the number, the QSIP, how the bonds that were required. They didn't even know many of the things. And so even the people that are partaking in the the trial don't even know about the back end operation of what's going to happen from a monetization standpoint over the individual, over the birth certificate, what kind of bonds are attached, those various different things, and what keeps the prison systems funded. But many of those judges were at odds and or conflict of interest because they held stock in prisons. And so right then it's a recusal. Right then they should all come off the bench. Right then there should be some criminal actions. But there's a law out there that allows these judges to do this. There's a law out there that allows for um, the companies that support us being vaccinated to invest in vaccine solutions. There's a law out there, and so none of this to me makes sense. But I'm explaining this all to you guys because no matter where you look, there comes a point where you get a door knock. And either you have massive success. Let me give you an example. Candace Owens, I'm just going to tell you right now, um, I think she's a Fed. I think she's a CIA. I think she's given her rendition of the truth. And I got kind of sucked in a little bit on that one. But then I saw her go after a guy who I have mad respect for, who I've donated a lot of money to, who goes in and goes after children. And I believe in this guy's heart. And she read a random affidavit on from a random guy regarding some stuff and just made Victor Marks look like a POS. And on Victor Marks, if you had to ask me, I've met him. I don't know him uh, on a friendship level. I've had a small, short conversation with him, but I've followed his career. I followed what he does, and you know the heart of people. It's very difficult for and people that know or have relationship with God. It's very difficult for them to be fooled over people that are not walking close with the Lord. There's always an element where you can catch or see the nature, the true nature of an individual. Generally, it's in the eye connection. Generally, it's within the pupil itself, and I'm not going to get into that right now. But um, question: what is my opinion of water shortage? I don't know anything about water shortage, other than um, I have already combated that for my family. We won't have a water shortage personally. I do know that I still need to do some work on making sure that we get my plants and different things through that kind of stuff. But I think there's going to be much more than a water shortage coming, and definitely an energy shortage. Definitely a with with what they are saying. I think that there's going to be a time period in which everything is going to go dark. So you need to prepare at a minimum for yourself on what it is you're going to do to live through a 10-15 day period where there's no power, and they come back and blame everything on whatever, and everybody believes it, and goes on to why we have a new monetary system as if it wasn't all planned. Um, okay, Logan, give me a minute. So for me, as I say all this to you guys, I'm telling you something. Everything you're watching is a narrative designed to suck you in and tie you up from finding the true nature of what's coming or going on down here. Okay, what is going to blindside you if you're not paying attention? So every single person that has an elevation of fame, same thing. You've got to know, I'm just going to tell you this. I've worked long and hard to get the subscriber base that we have. It seems like every month I gain 1,000, 1,500 subscribers overnight. It'll get slapped, it'll get cut, it'll get X'd. Every video I have, and do this for yourself. Track this and just watch a new video go out and watch a couple days later how it cuts down the number of views on a video. For at least for me, it does. And so I'm being throttled. I'm being they're actually taking the views off, probably from an algorithm standpoint, so that it doesn't go into a viral or doesn't go into a spin or doesn't go into whatever. Some videos that are very viral in nature will go to 30,000 and boom, it's cut off. It will never get displayed or viewed again. It just people will never see that video again. So, maybe I need to launch that video again in a different format and just keep launching the same video just to keep getting the information out. I don't know. But what I'm saying this for is there's nothing that you were watching on TV on a large scale that isn't absolutely designed to keep you off of the true information. Um, Israel, Iran, Israel, Lebanon, United States, Iran, Ukraine, Russia. It's always, always, always a show. And we are the viewers, we are the participants, the audience. And it doesn't matter what they do, the outcome is whatever they want it to be. They are in control in a lot of different respects. And so you just got to kind of understand that right now. But I do want to share some stuff with you that you really need to know. And I am always willing to humble myself to learn how to pray better, to know what I need to be doing. There's a concert that was coming to a hometown, Marilyn Manson. He's a renowned Satanist. Um, he's in a sad position. The town radio station does what they're supposed to do as a Christian believing station, says, everybody get together on this. This is coming. We need to stop this. The whole town started praying. The night before, all the people went down to the stadium and started praying. Crushed it. I'm telling you right now, there is a power that we have as believers that people don't understand at this point. And this is where the wars are really being fought. And so we always say to ourselves, which we shouldn't say, is we can't stop that. That's too big. It's going to absolutely happen no matter what. I beg to differ. I think anything, including something from the standpoint that you would think is going to overtake you, you would think that's too powerful. I think that once we have a clear understanding of how to battle a war in the spirit, it's going to be a game changer for us. And I'm doubling down on this, and I'm going to go in and deep, and because I really want to know. All I'm trying to say to you is, to the right, to the left, to the north, to the south, doesn't matter what they are saying. Trust me when I tell you, they are paid to do that. And they are paid to go down this narrative of attacking Erica Kirk, whether she's guilty or innocent. They are paying to go down this narrative of going after Trump. They are paid to go down this narrative. As a matter of fact, everybody's paid to do a certain thing, including the people promising information on XRP, including everything. And this is kind of why those are all the I dotters and T crossers that I need to understand that we made the correct choice on XRP, and they're keeping it low, bringing in the banking system. And we're coming to a shut off very soon where they have to do the flip and get everybody on the new system. So I'm excited. Just keep focused and keep your eyes on God, no matter what happens. Again, I'm just saying, no matter what happens in the skies, no matter what happens on the ground, always prepare, be ready for anything, and understand you may need to defend yourself, men. Don't be punk, sissy, lala, girly girl. Stand up for yourself, stand up for your home, stand up for your rights. And if we need to help one another, we really need to start considering that and what that looks like for us as community. Our land is our land. God's land is even more important, God's land. And if we've taken something and we promised it to God, we have every right to protect it. And I think God would take that very seriously. And so us as a body politic of people coming behind, or body of people coming behind, and helping one another, support one another through this time where they say you will own nothing and like it. I think what you need to understand why they say that is because it's already true for most of the world. They switch the narrative on how deeds are done. You don't own the land, you own air if you have a modern day deed. And I'm only saying that because a lot of people don't understand. They think they own land, homes, apartment buildings, whatever. They don't. You listen respectfully. You don't. Go look at your deed and understand what a legal description is. You don't own jack, especially if it's in your name or if it's in a corporation's name, because they own both of those, your name and the corporation's name. So when you're putting something in your name, you're essentially giving it to the state or the Fed, and you're paying them a tax. And I can go on and on and on. So just let's prepare. Let's keep moving forward, pulling land out of the public, putting it into the private. Let's pull ourselves out of the public, put ourselves in the private, and let's develop community. We have at least a few years to perfect that. And yeah, we're going to see some crazy stuff. I think this summer is going to be a hoot. So blessings. Anyway, first question. I would like to donate my funds to my foundation, purchase a property to rent out to fund the foundation. I wrote a contract and title company in Florida. Tried will not issue title insurance unless I register my foundation with the state. I thought that was the purpose of private. So, Pam, just let me stop right there and address this. There are ways to still put the property into the private. A a company like a title company is not your end all. Number one, there is Supreme Court rulings in Florida that would allow for you to be able to fight that position. Number two, nobody can tell you as the lender with a paid in full contract, you can't have a loan, as a paid in full contract, what you can record in or not record in. Specifically because this is a church and it's biased, it's a First Amendment violation. So there are ways around it, and we're working on it right now because we have a couple of people going through it. So we're developing private unregistered trusts with the foundation as a beneficial interest. And check this out. Florida has specific statute that allow you to hold property in trust up to 1,000 years. I want you to think about that. That's in their statute. So when this gets recorded, your grandfather, specifically when you are the listed as the beneficial interest, then after the fact of the recording, you can switch the beneficiary over to the foundation. And that's done in the private. The trust is private, the foundation is private. And so just know that. Also know that you can, if you just need to get it done, you can record in your name and flip it after the fact. Because the purpose of the title insurance is just to make sure that you have vested, clear, date down, title pulled, meaning from that date of that time of that recording, you're clear of all encumbrances, liens, whatever, on the property, and they're willing to insure it. Just FYI, I've never seen a title company pay on one policy. Never. Never. As a lender, as somebody who's dealt in title, never seen it in 30 years. So just know that. But I gave you pretty much all the answers that you need. Also know that I need to, from her, I need to file a Form 990. I read all the documents, did not see anything in what you sent, but the form with the tax ID number says that there are required forms to file. I am just trying to start to use the foundation, and I don't want to get in trouble right from the start. You're not going to get in trouble. Is there a video I should watch that covers this? There are many videos that you can watch to cover this. But Pam, the bottom line, I just gave you the answers. If you need any further clarity, let me know. Question from Tim. um, Regarding making the foundation the primary member of the LLC, does that mean the foundation is the registered agent? Pretty much. I attached a copy of what it looks like currently. Yeah, I can't look at that right now. I paid off. Dang, I don't have any water in here. Paid off my home since December 2020. I received a deed from the county early in January 2021. I don't like anything about the way it was processed electronically. I also paid off my car and may like to do the same, but that's not urgent. What are the benefits of changing out my passport from Amy? What are the benefits of changing out my passport? You mean the passport where you claim to be an employee of the United States, where that makes you the collateral and surety, the guarantor of the debt of a defunct nation that the creditors like Johnson and Johnson and the different pharmaceutical companies are coming after their patented property and the people that are in the bankruptcy, and they will be chipping and marking them soon. That reason why you're trying to find out if there's a good enough reason to come over and come out. Well, as a state citizen, you're the creditor. You're no longer the debtor. You're no longer making allegiance to the corporation. You're no longer saying I want to be an employee of the corporation. You're saying I quit. And so absolutely, it's 100% benefit is to the latter of being the state citizen where you are in fact not under the jurisdiction of the United States. And trust me, guys, jurisdiction of the United States is by far the worst place to be in. And when I say that, sorry guys, it's my mom. I had to pick her up from the hospital today. Keep my mom in prayers, guys. She called me from a doctor's appointment. Didn't know where she was, didn't know where her car was. So I had to go grab her. Um, so when you start to understand the element of what it means to be the surety or the collateral of a defunct, defaulted corporation known as the United States, and you know that that is the company that collateralized every birth certificate in the world, and that there's a series of 13 banks that are overseeing as the creditors a bankruptcy, and it's that bankruptcy is now being, and the product within the bankruptcy, meaning the land, the gold, the assets of the company, the assets of the, which are the people, are all going to be either a warehouse good, a marked or chipped good, or the both. And so why do you want to be a state citizen? Because you'll be one of the creditors, but you'll also be free under God, because that's what a state of the union citizen, it is a body of people making allegiance, saying God is our king. That's all it is. And I can prove that in law, Black's law, which is kind of funny for people to hear that, but it doesn't say it that way. But when you're making allegiance to the Declaration, which nobody does as a United States citizen, but you do when you go through our state citizenship process, and you understand what that word state means, lowercase in Black's law, it means body of people. Body of people doing what? Becoming, having allegiance to each other, to their state, California. It's a name of what? Of people that are bound under the Declaration of Independence. Remember, the Declaration of Independence says this on the title: these several states. Okay, right at the top. So when you understand united, lowercase on the top, the title of the Declaration of Independence, states capitalized, noun, united, adjective, lowercase on the title, and you understand that the states are the people, and we're just uniting publicly on this document, agreeing on this trust indenture, saying we are children of God, we're sick of the tyranny, and we agree with everything in this document. Well, it's no different than it is today. It's almost like we're having a secondary regeneration. And this is why I believe his advocates has to get out there and serve the people at its highest level to get them this information, so they know that they never were truly an American, or they were an American, but they were bound under federal territory, which literally means what the all capital letter state means. So if you take a look at the lowercase state in Black's law and the all caps definition of state in Black's law, the all capital one, which you hold allegiance to, says a community of persons bound under federal territory. Literally the definition. So you're a community of artificial persons bound under federal territory. What does that mean? That means the United States, located in the District of Columbia, with statutes, codes, and rules that you have applied to and become an employee of, now are obliged to the employment manual and all the statutes and codes thereby. Get it? So you're nothing more than an employee that took stock in the company, and because of that, you're the creditor, or you're the debtor, excuse me. Me, I didn't want to take stock in the company. I wanted to be outside of that system. And because I was born on this land, this is my land. This is our land, the people's land, that don't make obligations of ourselves, which is a biblical requirement. We don't make an obligation. We don't become the debtor or the surety or the collateral of ourselves. And this is why God says this. Because if we didn't, we would all be Americans. If we were obedient, if the United States of America was truly obedient to God, and we weren't tricked by the live born record, the birth certificate, the driver's license, social security card, all those things, if that didn't trick us, which it doesn't matter, we fail for a lack of knowledge, and we really should have an account for what those documents truly mean. but we're all Americans that made poor decisions based on what our parents suggested us to do. And this is something that we have to correct. This is something that you today can correct. You can change your status today to go back to becoming an American, and it's nothing more than quitting that job. It's nothing more than making sure that you have affirmed it with them by doing your active state, doing your new contract under the driver's license, new contract under the Social Security Administration, showing them that you are not happy with what they have done and that you are, by their own acquiescence, they are agreeing to your new terms, which is what we do. It's the most important thing this country could ever do. And no, Donald Trump is not going to save you. And I think you are all you Trumpers are gonna have a massive backlash and betrayal. I think all of you guys are gonna feel betrayed like never, ever before in your life. Directly, indirectly, whether it's Trump, whether it's social media, whether it's news, whether they kill him and raise him up, his look-alike on TV, it doesn't matter. I think you are all in for a ton of regret in supporting that. And I get it. Like, what else were you supposed to support? I get it. But this is why I started this whole thing off. Left hand, right hand, Democrat, Republican. They're all evil for the most part. If you knew what they went through to train them, to mold them, to get them, to shape them to where they are today, you would understand why those people in Congress, why those people in those high positions are evil people for the most part. Not 100%, but a lot of them. And I really regret, not recognizing this a lot sooner and getting out of the game a lot sooner. I really wish I wouldn't have played this ball at all with any of these people a long time ago. Anyway, next question. Out of curiosity, do you know anything about filling out a 1040 for the prior 3 years tax returns? I know people do it, but don't know the process of what is recommended. I have two friends who have successfully filled them out and received that year's taxes back. I don't make any tax or IRS suggestions other than um, making sure that you sign the form with a full. Um, I get rid of on their. I cross the entirety of their oath out. You're not required to agree to their oath. You're not required to even sign. You're required to fill out a 1040 if you're a taxpayer. And but I don't make any suggestions for a 1099 OID or 1099A, or I don't make those suggestions. There are people out there that can help, but I can tell you, you do not want a signature on it. And and you want a full reservation. Hey, listen, guys, everybody, go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go get some water. I can't even speak right now. Go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna grab some water. All right, I'm back. I had no idea I was an H2O-aholic. Gotta love it. All right, next one. See how my voice has changed? General, do I send that every credit card company I have, bank account, car loan, gun permit, car loans? Okay, so somebody is thinking about the final notice letters that we give you as a template. Anything that is a major contract that like a gun permit, mortgage, car loan. If it were me, I would dot my I's and send that letter off to with a certified mail, 100%. Um, Somebody is asking, response from me is to moving real estate located in Canada into a foundation. All I can say is somebody else has done that before, and there was a little pushback, but we pushed it through and they got everything they wanted. They just had to fill a form out. But also, Pitor, um, people all over the country here in the United States have to push sometimes and learn how to fill out forms like New York, like Florida, um, to file things. Florida, really staunch. We've had a lot of success in putting things into a foundation in Florida. Um, and all of a sudden they start becoming sticklers, especially at the title company level, that they won't record something in the name of a foundation. They need to see a name on as beneficiary, and the reason why is because they own that name. Get it? So there's a lot of issues that I have with that, but we're going to be smarter than them in having a revocable or changeable trust after the fact, make the foundation the beneficial interest, and we will get them recording things in the foundation again soon. Next question. I do have all three letters completed for the DMV. Question, do I now destroy my DL? Do I need to keep renewing my driver's license plates for my motorcycles, cars, trucks? Listen, guys, we don't make, as his advocates, Brian, we don't make any recommendations for you to get rid of your driver's license. No need to. Um, that DMV letter had two choices on it. If you read the document, this is very specific. If you read the document, you got to remove one of the two paragraphs in that DMV letter. One, if you're going to keep it, it says right above, if you're going to keep it, keep this paragraph in and remove this one. If you're going to get rid of it, remove the first paragraph and keep the second one. And that way, um, but I have always told people, why do you want to get rid of the driver's license if you're able to recontract with it? And so I don't recommend that. If you decided to get rid of the driver's license, you need to send it back to them with a copy of your three letters that you did to get rid of the driver's license. The motorcycles, cars, trucks, and all that stuff, that has nothing to do with you per se from a standpoint. Maybe it does from an ownership standpoint, but you can't stop paying on license plates and or on your cars, your trucks, your motorcycles, unless you do a removal of those from the DMV. And so that's something that you have to consider and thinking about. And do you, Brian, do you want to consider the fact that this may make yourself a target? At this point in time, you don't have a need to do this. There might be a point in time in the future where you have a need to do this. Today, you don't. Today, you can still risk-free drive without obligation because we're able to change the contract term from the DL standpoint to where you are not contracted with them any longer because of the faults and the defaults and the properly new affected court of record due to acquiescence. That's just an administrative process. It's a fact in law. So you are able to remove the element of jurisdiction over you through that driver's license is the point. Now, if you're getting rid of the driver's license, if it were me, I'd put the cars in a foundation name and keep them current so nobody would want to pull me over. Understand? That's what I would do. Next question was, do I donate the vehicles to the foundation? Yes. What about all my silver, IRAs, cash, money, market, etc.? So, Brian, when we give you the foundation, we give you an asset transfer, we give you a donation letter. All that stuff comes with the foundation. So all you need to do is list your stuff, specifically in your money market, IRAs, all that stuff. Listen, guys, people that have 401ks, IRAs, um, you have no idea what's going to happen to your dollars. You're going to have a serious problem soon. You need to get out of it, take the hit, and then put them in crypto, gold, and silver, period. There's a few cryptos that are going to become worthless, but there's a few cryptos that are going to go through the roof. And you have to consider for yourself, are they going to allow for a debtor to be the holder of a crypto or a foundation to be a holder of a crypto? The answer is a creditor and a foundation are going to be truly people they cannot touch, especially the ones in the foundation accounts, foundation trade accounts, foundation bank accounts, they can't touch. So make sure you get your assets properly affected and transferred within those documents that we gave you when we posted your foundation to your ticket. Kelby, I have a house in Osborne on a mission post, as you know my deed. It is private, foreign, unincorporated entity, formed and recorded in The Hague in the Netherlands. It's an international treaties which are noted in the articles. As you also know, the house of blank was denied the exemption. I have sent the paperwork through an administrative court to suit the tax collector. Here's my question. What recommendation would you give to lend credibility to my church? Well, first and foremost, House of Osborne sounds like a trust. Secondly, we didn't create that for you. I can't give credence to whether it is a church or not. I'm not saying it's not. You know, I got your back. We helped you out. But I would say that none of that matters. I would say that your declaration that it is a church is sufficient. I would say that you don't need to hold church services in your house to have the house be a church. Let me explain. If you are a 501c3 and it owns a piece of property and the pastor decides to live in that property is tax exempt. Does that mean that pastor or that priest is holding service in that house? No, he's just living there. So why does it matter that you need to prove that you're a church? So if it were me, it'd be a declaration and a notice and a violation of X, and that they are treating you, and go and look up. Look, there's doctrine, there's issued case law to support you. Go and look it up and be very poignant about what you're going to present, meaning exact, knowing that you have a case that supports your position and they're being biased towards an unregistered private international church. And because it's freedom is not free. They want to collect money from you. And the only way that you're going to stop it is every check is under protest, but make it. Every bill is rebutted as being a fact. And the only other option that you have other than suit, and not a common law kind of a courts of chancellery or international court or whatever, I would just go and sue them locally in the state. And and I would have the supporting case laws to pull you through it if you really want to take it down all the way to that point, because there's case law all over the nation that supports what we are doing and that it shouldn't be taxed. Now, just because we're unregistered doesn't mean that you should now tax us. We're a church. The element of you proving whether you're a church or not, you don't need to prove whether you're a church. They need to prove you're not. How can they do that? You're not the one that needs to prove. They need to prove that they have subject matter jurisdiction over the fact of you're not being a church. But you don't need to prove that you're a church or not. You don't need to say, hey, look at me, I'm holding service on Sunday. There's nothing like that required for a Catholic church, period, or any 501c3. It's just that the pastor lives in the property. That property is now exempt. So what is a church? It's a great question. You are. And especially if we created it for you. Unfortunately, we didn't create yours. So the next step, if you can't get that battle won in that way, I would close the tax account. I would get a foundation and I would sell under a counter deed. Go read what a counter deed is. Your asset, your home, the deed, make a new deed into the foundation, close the tax account, put the new deed in the public in a foreign county, and serve them with a letter that you are not going to be recording this new deed for any benefit, right, or privilege, including tax from the state. And what are they going to do? They can't bill you for something that you don't register. They're in We have, I'm going to guess, I don't know the count. We have hundreds of people in this position. I'm going to guess where they sell the asset, close the tax account, say we've sold it. They're going to ask them for the deed. They're going to say no. You're not going to give them a copy of the transfer deed. And they're not going to have the ability to record something when somebody has not specifically says, I'm not recording this properly affected deed on the purchaser side. I'm going to keep it private. Now go read the words counter deed in Black's Law and you'll understand why it's a lawful deed. Okay. Kelby, can you please tell me how, where I should post this bill of endorsement on the internet? Yeah, we did that last week. Just put it on the internet. And then you also want to serve them with a copy. I checked the agreements, but I was told, hold on. I'm hoping this is you, Hawkeye. If it's not, you better get it posted in the Q&A here online. I need help with getting many meeting minutes of his Word Foundation stating that my children as being board members with all access to the foundation's assets, including but not limited to the land, property, and or bank accounts. So, Hawkeye, take a minute. Maybe I can give you a list of commands that you would give to artificial intelligence because it's pretty easy. Um, whatever your desire is, write it down in a paragraph, sit on it, think about it, present it to us. This is what I'm going to tell AI kind of a thing. Because you can absolutely use AI. Say, I need some meeting minutes for this date, this time. These people are going to attend the meeting, you and your wife. These people we want on the board currently, my children. And in the event of X, Y, and Z for me or my wife, I want these people to take over these positions. I need that written up for me. It'll present exactly what you need in pretty short order. If you need help with that, I'll be more than happy to help you as a buddy. But the reality is, it's too easy, and yeah, I do believe AI does exist even in the swamplands. So I just go for it. Next question. I checked the agreements, but I was told by Kelby not to record the new deed, but to let the parish tax collector and parish clerk of court know that it has been sold with the paperwork that he would provide without telling who the buyer is. So if that's you, Hawkeye, you should have a conversation with me, but also listen to what I just said to the past person. I don't know exactly what you're trying to get accomplished, but it sounds like you're trying to sell the home or the land and put it into the private, not record it into the county, keep the deed as a counter deed in the private. If that's the question, um, ask another question specific to what you may need, because you pretty much I addressed it just now before, and I'll be more than happy to address it with you in the private. Next question. We're not in the private yet. We just got our foundation paperwork done. We're at the beginning of getting things done. I'd like to be an election judge in Colorado, but it's a 2-year commitment. I was told that we wouldn't be able to vote anymore. So not sure I should sign up to be a judge. Please let me know. Thank you. Francine, vote is that as a de jure judge or de facto judge? Number one. Put it in the comments if you wish. Secondly, you weren't allowed to vote in the Republic or in, okay, so you have an opportunity to be a de facto judge in Colorado with a 2-year commitment. What are you, an attorney currently? Correct? Incorrect? I was told that you wouldn't be able to vote anymore. Who told you that you wouldn't be able to vote as a judge? Who told you that? I don't know why you wouldn't be able to vote. Um, yeah, you can be a judge. That'd be awesome if you were a de facto judge and a state citizen. I'd love to hear about that. I thought we weren't allowed to vote once we go into private. It's not about, I've always said it's not about whether you're allowed to vote. If it were me, I wouldn't. What for me it's about, Francine, is I don't believe in the voting at all. Number one. Number two, I think that when you understand what you're signing as to come under the you're becoming you're coming under a politic of people known as a Republican or known as a Democrat, and there's a lot of things that go with that. And so that voting card, that DMV, those documents, if not properly addressed, meaning how you sign them, how you reserve your rights on them, you could be putting yourself right back into a public position. So I've always warned people about it. I've never said don't vote. I mean, I just don't believe in the voting aspect anyway. So if you really want to vote, go for it. Just make sure you sign it in cursive, non-assumptive. That's what I would do. Next question. How would my wife file her work W-4 for taxes and file at the end of her? She has currently been filing marriage, filing single, but we're in the process, or should I say, I am in the process of removing the marriage certificate from my life as my, I'm guessing you said wife, is concerned, doesn't know what you should do on her end. Are we still considered married legally with the state or no? Okay, so great question. Listen, guys, regarding the marriage certificate, we are doing this from a couple standpoint, just to have the understanding with the state that we are self-determined to create a new agreement. It doesn't necessarily cancel out the agreement. We have seen them immediately go to court, create an ex parte hearing, and bring you into court trying to say you can't do this. But you got to understand something. When you remove your signature and you do an administrative process and they don't say anything, by default, you have uncontracted, but the legal nature of the contract is still could be enforceable. Like, no, let me say it this way. A judge, you can make the argument that you guys both agreed on this, but if your wife has a concern because let's start here. If your wife has a concern because she's worried about you not having a contract anymore and walking away with 100% of the assets versus how a judge might try to protect her for 50% or whatever for her, I would just get a private agreement in place where you two agree upon whatever you're going to do with the assets in the marriage. When you give the assets to a foundation, it makes everything moot. So there's trust that has to be built up between you guys no matter what. And this is why we're hoping that couples can understand that the purpose of removing our signature from a marriage license application is just to have another element of them not being able to get subject matter jurisdiction over us or the children. Remember what happens with the state and people that have an issue with the state or child protective services is because they have a marriage license. And so the first thing that somebody is having an issue with child protective services, we remove our signature from the marriage license. We put it in the public and we serve the child protective services with those documents showing that they no longer have a culpable, real reason to have jurisdiction over the child. The second thing is the birth certificate. You got to go after the BC as being something that was done under fraud, and they put it into the public under an abandonment certificate, and they now think the state is daddy. And so there's certain things you got to do. I know none of this matters for you. I get it. But for you and your wife, come to a term, do a private agreement, do the removal of signature on the marriage docs. It's only there for the express purpose if down the road they are going to use that license against you to come after you criminally, to come after you to show they have jurisdiction over you, to come after you for any of those things. You're going to be able to say, no, that was canceled by us privately through an administrative process. That is absolutely a uh, uh, a defaulted administrative agreement, and where they gave tacit consent by ignoring our are certified letters. It's very, very helpful from a position standpoint, but it's not going to mitigate whether your wife gets anything or doesn't get anything, or whether you get it all or whether she doesn't. That license would be something that if you wanted to challenge in court later, you can make that determination with what you did in the private. You got to understand. Um, I have one license I've seen get canceled. One. I have multiple people where they get brought into court to go into an ex parte hearing to be told that they weren't allowed to cancel, and they made and rebutted the presumption and did whatever they did. Again, it's for us to deal with the larger issues of life. We don't want them to use this over our children. We don't want them to use this over our union. We don't want them to say they have a contract with us or against us. And that's why we put this into the public, create a common law court of record. So at some point we can use that and show them why they don't have jurisdiction if they were to try to use that public side agreement to come against you. That's all it's for. Next question. Kelby, checking to see if you received my questions for my support ticket regarding the filled out warranty deed. I did, and I answered them. You didn't see it? I think we had questions, but I answered it. And Craig, this might be one of those things, if you're not getting an answer online from a standpoint, we just need to connect for a bit. Maybe I can help you out for a few minutes and figure that out. Just remembered reminding you to please review the document. I would like to add to my passport application at your nearest convenience. Logan, I will look at it tomorrow. I'll check it out with Alex tomorrow. I see anything else? Everybody good? Dude, in 2 minutes, I think we nailed it. Craig, I'll look at your ticket again. I think I responded. I think I responded with Alex last week. If I didn't, we'll have to figure it out. I'll figure it out with you tomorrow. Just give me exactly what you think you're missing tomorrow, because I'm going to be working with Alex for a few minutes tomorrow. Anyway, guys, look, um, let's stop worrying about the cat and mouse games we're watching on TV. Stop listening to social media. Do not pick up your phone and put it in your mind that first few minutes right before you get your day going. Do not watch crap before you go to bed. Listen, guys, the best thing that you can be doing with your wives, your spouses before you go to bed is, well, on the physical side, on the private side is pray with them. Absolutely love on your spouse by praying with your spouse. That's the best thing that you can do right before you go to bed. Watch your love, life, energy, sleep, dreams, everything change. Pray with your spouse before you go to bed. Cover them completely. Cover your property. We're going to be really getting into, I mean, I've done it in the past, but we're really going to get into spiritual warfare, praying, and understanding what that looks like. Because there's things that need to be done. There's strongholds that need to be canceled. People don't understand what that looks like from a simple prayer request standpoint, but also understand that requires a righteous person's prayer. Demons laugh. Demons will literally laugh at the unrighteous prayers. I want you guys to know that. This is why we have to stand firm with our walk and our belief in who we are, and don't let that get around us not being a good soldier for the Lord in the private with our walk in accordance to the Ten Commandments. Last question. What I want to know is, I'm going private. My wife is not. And then she's filing her future tax returns married, filing separately, sole. Okay. And she's going to pay all the taxes she has to pay as a United States citizen. I'm removing my name from the marriage license, and you can't. You need a consenting dual signature on that because it took two to marry. So leave that one alone until she would want to do that. Just FYI. She'll come around. She'll come around. Don't worry about it. When she sees the nature of the strength of what you have done after it's all said and done, and can read through it and understand the Supreme Court. This is why we have the book, guys. Look, for your friends and family, send them to hisadvocates.org, please. Tell them to go get this free copy of the book, download it, and read it. This is very, very powerful. People that have read it understand it. I'm getting ready to put it on the servers. Hopefully, Greg, you figure that out for us. We can get it out there on the servers. I want people to know what it means to be free and that the law supports this very thing. I also want AI to start telling the truth about what sovereignty is and what an American truly is. And so we're going to figure this out together, guys. God bless you guys. Thank you for coming. I will see you next Tuesday, 5 p.m. for this. For the VIP members, I'll see you Thursday morning, 9 a.m. and Saturday morning, 9 a.m. for you prayer warriors. Have a great week. I'm putting out some more content. I'm trying to get it out there every day. I don't really like the way the AI looks and is representing me. But it's so much easier to put content out there if you can just get some random quack that looks kind of like me to say a bunch of stuff and get it out there. But it doesn't have the inflections, the kindness, the heart. None of that's can be done with AI. So we're working on it. But God bless you guys. Have a great week, and I will see you soon. Next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific. Enjoy.